Good morning. Good morning. Welcome to the CSLDallas Science Mind class. I'm Dr. Petra, and I am happy to be with you. Thank you so much to Dr. Tracy for being with us last week, as I was healing from my surgery. And so super happy to be here. Always grateful to see all of you. It's my favorite place to be on a Sunday morning, right here in this room with you all here in the room and online. So we have started a new chapter, body. Right? We have the idea that this infinite one, it's not broken up into parts. It's not pieces of the whole, but actually different ways in which the whole, in which the infinite, the one, is operating, functioning, showing up, lots of different words that we can use. And what we do is we give it names that help us talk about the different aspects of the infinite reality. Otherwise, we'd literally sit around and talk about, and we'd say one, and well, oneness, well, one, and it's one, and it's one, and yeah, you know, it's one, and I mean, that's right. And so because we're using the language of the space-time continuum, inevitably we want to categorize and define and put some parameters on it, not because we're trying to squeeze the infinite into something, but because we want to actually try to understand a little bit more about it. And it helps us get a hold of it. So we're going to constantly remember that we're not talking about separate things, but we're talking about separate aspects of the nature of reality. So body is the third piece. We spent quite a bit of time on spirit as the impulse, the life impulse, the desire for expression, and sort of the ground of being from which everything emerges. We talked about the soul as the place of or not so much the place, right? See, that's already a space-time, spatial idea, but the process in which the intangible becomes the tangible, as well as what it's made out of and how it operates, right? And so we get to look at the laws and the way things become, right? Because the spirit is being, soul is process, as well as substance, and body is outcome, manifestation, physicality. So everything in the tangible universe that is both tangible to our senses and intangible to our senses, including the quantum field and subatomic particles, all the way up to black holes, and everything in between is covered in the word body, the manifest body of the one. And so it's a lovely thing to recognize that this is one of my favorite parts about the science of mind, is that creation isn't separate from the infinite. There isn't God out there and creation down here, and somehow these two things were either trying to bridge the gap, or God said, oh, it's all good, have a nice life, or God is up there going, wait, you're not doing it right, you're not doing it right. Which is the classic definition of duality. Here we have a recognition that life needs a vehicle through which to express if it's going to express in some form. Operative word, form. Intention has no form. Impulse has no form. You can't see life without a form that is alive, right? You can't see the wind. You can see what the wind does. Yep. You can see, right? We can see the effects of the wind. The wind can pick something up, and all of a sudden we see, oh, it's revolving. But it's actually not the wind we're seeing. What we're seeing is what the wind has picked up to show us what it's doing. It's a fabulous analogy for all of physicality. It is the way that which we can't see can be seen and can see itself, can express. And so there's two operative words when we talk about body. And we want to make sure that we're not just always only thinking about, oh, my body, right? We're talking about physicality, matter, materiality, the tangible universe. And it's infinite too, right? Which is a whole other thing you have to bend your mind around. So the two things, well, okay, I lied. Three things. Let's say three things. The first thing is body has form. If it has a form of some sort, of any kind, that you can talk about, measure in any way, you're instantly in the realm of body. You're in the realm of physicality, of outpicturing, of manifestation. And in the space-time continuum, form instantly implies duration. Because we live in a space-time continuum. And of course, the Hindus really understood this centuries and many centuries ago when they talk about that the fabric of the universe are the pairs of opposites. Space and time, duration and place, up and down, hot and cold, now and then, today and tomorrow, right? All of these things only exist because something has taken form. And the moment it has taken form, right, then the question is, well, how long is it going to be in that form? Is it going to change forms, right? And so that in that moment, we have physicality. We have what we are experiencing now is the space-time continuum. So those two pieces co-arise, right? They are space and time is sort of what we're talking about when we're talking about form. The other operative word about body is effect. It is always the effect of a cause. There's always something moving, which then expresses as this particular form. So it is always an effect, never a cause, unless we make it so. So this physical creation is the result of the impress of life, of the impress of spirit to express itself. The entire evolutionary process is the evolving creation of forms that allow more and more and more of life to express. And we might begin to not just use the word life, but remember that we're talking about not just the science of mind, but we like to translate that into the science of consciousness, because we actually know everything is consciousness. So another way of saying it is that consciousness has been evolving forms that allow greater and greater expression of consciousness. So something to really think about, right? That this whole, there's a way of thinking about this. Not that humanity is the apex of creation, right? Because I'm sure there's ways in which consciousness will evolve forms that are more evolved than we are. But at this point in time, in our experience, right, we can see the whole trajectory of the evolution here on planet Earth to create, to develop, to evolve organisms, physical expressions that house consciousness. And the more and to evolve to that place where consciousness can begin to know itself, can begin to see itself, can begin to express itself. So it's always an effect and it's always a form. And any time that we have a form, we must know that we're having an effect, that we have an effect, not a cause. This becomes utterly critical, and it's corroborated in psychology, it's corroborated in medicine, that so many of the experiences that we have in our bodies are outpicturings of the mind-body connection, right? Think about the massive amount of studies that are being done right now that corroborate that a ridiculous amount of chronic issues that we have today in the United States are stress-related, lifestyle choices, which are all things that we actually do with our way of deciding to live life. And that has this massive effect on us and is then expressed through the body. And so the idea here is to recognize that when we can really understand that the body is always in effect, then what we do is we stop making it cause, which means we stop blaming something outside of ourselves for what's going on. We stop pointing out there for what's going on, and we ask, what new cause do we have to set in motion? Now we're going to start right here, right now. Never, ever, ever saying to yourself or anyone else, well, what was in your consciousness to create that? First of all, it's none of our damn business. Second of all, we are not the consciousness police. Third of all, it's a useless question. Because I promise you, it's a combination of God knows how many things, and it's really immaterial. The question is, what do we want to create now? Right? That's always the question. The question, the most useless question we can ask is why. It's the absolute most, and it quite truthfully, it's hurtful. It's hurtful. It's unnecessary. There's nothing in our theology, our philosophy, and the way in which we practice the science of mind that makes it okay for going around and judging people. Oh, it was in your consciousness. How did you create that? Maybe you should ask yourself how you created that. Well, you know what? It's here. So the question is, what am I going to do about it? Now, this is modified as we do our own work. We may choose to have trusted people who help us. And what becomes significant is when we look for patterns. Oh, this is the kind of thing that keeps happening. Oh, what's going on? So for instance, I always love to tell on myself. It's great, right? So for years, untold, uncounted years, I would get walking pneumonia. First, I would get a cold. Then I would get sick. Then I would get bronchitis. And then I would get walking pneumonia. Woe is me. What annoying. And because I was a spiritual being, by God, I was going to heal it with my spirituality. And my body would say, I don't think so. You are going to bed. And I really thought, well, what's the matter with me? Why can I not heal this thing about this constant repetition of getting wait. Well, let's think about that word. Repetition of getting pneumonia. And so then doing some really thoughtful, compassionate work with myself, having other people help me with it, I thought, oh, well, yeah, because I'm constantly pushing too hard. I don't take a break. When I get those first inklings that I'm a little worn down, I don't say, oh, let me take a break, right? I am a spiritual being. I'm going to plug into the universe and I'm going to push through. Boom! The body says, because this physicality also needs something. And so that's how our physicality outpictures it. Right? It was outpicturing my neglect of it, quite frankly, my unwillingness to say, oh, I see that I, can't actually do this 24/7. I do actually have to take breaks. So do you see, it's the patterns that we then look at, and we begin to allow the effect, the form that the body is representing to us to inform us, is there something here? Is there something here for me? Right? Or not. But it's a question we ask ourselves. And we ask it gently and compassionately and openly with the help maybe of others, as I said, but it's never shame on you. Great, now I'm not only sick, but now I feel bad. Oh, that's really helpful. Thank you so much, right? That is not the point. That's not the point. The point is that then we have tools, one, to work with the physicality of it, work with the physical symptoms, but we also have tools to change the consciousness that says, I neglect myself, I work too hard, everything is too important, everything is more important than me, my value is in my doing, blah, 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 which is the pattern that then shows up. And that's useful work, but it's our work. It's none of anybody else's business, right? So no shaming, no blaming, no, we don't do that. So here's one of the ways that I like to think about this. I'm on a little tear here because this is my soapbox. This is our teaching, love and law, right? We apply love to others. We only apply the law to ourselves. We're the only one who gets to ask that question. We don't get to ask that question. We are, as I said, we are not the consciousness police. You find yourself in a pattern, you find yourself ill or whatever, right? We have compassion. We have compassion and help. And if I'm a trusted advisor that you want to talk to, great. Now, we can do that work, but that's up to you. So we're just going to stop that. If that's going on in your life and in people that you know, we don't do that. That's a very immature way of applying our philosophy, and we don't do it. So what we see is that the body is a feedback mechanism. Right? So that's all it is. The manifest universe is just a feedback mechanism. And what is it feeding back? Our thoughts and beliefs, the thoughts and beliefs we've picked up from our family, the culture's thoughts and beliefs, the thoughts and beliefs of what humanity has come to believe about being a human being. And the whole kit and caboodle of all of that, right? We're walking around with all of that. Remember when we talked about in soul is that's the subconscious part. That's the place where all of the patterns of thinking are being held. And there's layers and layers and layers of that, starting with, I'm here and you're there. That sense of separation that we have simply by being embodied in a physicality, all the way up to what our family taught us to believe or what we learned to believe ourselves. And so this becomes a feedback mechanism. And so again, it's no shame, no blame, right? You put your paintbrush into blue and you put your paintbrush into yellow and you put it on the canvas and you go, damn, I wanted purple. Blue and yellow make green. We learn it. We go, okay, now I'm going to put my paintbrush in blue and red. Oh, purple, there's the purple. Oh, it's not quite the purple I want. A little more blue, a little more red, right? And so that becomes the feedback mechanism, as opposed to this idea that somehow we're doing it wrong. So let's stop there. We have much to talk about creation. Because again, body doesn't just mean our physical bodies. It means all of creation. But, we're most interested in ourselves always. And so it's okay. It's really okay. So we're going to stop there. And we're going to check in. We're going to check in on what's going on online. We're going to check in here with everybody in the room. And Ryan and Richard, good morning, Ryan. And how's it going out there?
Going good. Thank you, Dr. Petra, and welcome to everybody here on campus with us today, and for everybody joining us online all over the globe. Welcome. We see you. We're glad you're in community with us. And as Dr. Petra was mentioning, this is an engaging conversation. So, do I have a volunteer here today? Oh, I have the rock star Patrick back with us.
Yay, and I think we have a comment back here.
Yes.
We have a comment back here. Okay.
Yes, and we have one online as
Perfect.
well, too. So
great. Wherever you want to start.
Let me give you some house rules. So for the folks that are here in campus with us today, I'm waving my hand at those who are going to be on camera. If you don't wish to be on camera, then go over here. This is the area where you're not on camera. And for those who are online, we're not going to see you anyways, but we will hear your lovely voice by raising your hand on Zoom. So if you're on Zoom with us, you can hit the raise your hand icon located down on the reactions, located at the bottom of your screen, or always feel free to put it in the chat or the Q&A section, and I can bring that into the room. And for all of those joining us all over the globe on Facebook Live, we appreciate and love you too. So feel free to drop your questions and comments inside of the chat, and we can bring that into the room as well. And I always like to mention that I keep the chats anonymous, so that way we can continue to have a safe container for spiritual growth. So I guess we'll go here in the room first, and then we'll come to the Marjorie, who I see here online.
Great. Well, great.
I guess what, and I
Hi,
may be
Gerald.
drawing a conclusion, Gerald. But I'm drawing something that seems to say this. The more that we understand, you kept saying one earlier, but it seems to me the more that we understand that it is the one,
Right.
and we're a part of it, the further we can get away from the duality or the cause.
No
deal.
question about it.
And that I just
Yes.
okay.
Yes, you're exactly right. It's just really hard to talk about, which is why the mystics couch their experience of oneness in all these, poetic ways or in analogies, because otherwise we can't really share, and I can't say, oh, I've had that experience too, right? It's only our language but the understanding of that and the embodiment of that understanding is the beginning of changing everything. You're exactly right. Thanks, Gerald. All right.
All right, yes. So Marjorie, would you like to go ahead and join us and ask your question?
Good morning, Marjorie.
Good morning. It's so good to be here, as always. Thank you. This is kind of leading me to mention about, I've heard people say things like, get out of your head, speak more from your body, listen to your body, talking about embodiment. Sometimes to kind of, the way I've received it anyway is kind of like saying that when you're speaking or you're sharing or you're experiencing life, that it's more important from their perspective, at least from hearing, more important to listen to the body, to speak. In other words, there's kind of a separation is what I'm hearing. And yet my response has usually been like the last I checked, my head was connected to my body as one thing, so I guess if there is a question there, it's like,
Yeah. It's a great question, Marjorie, and it's this similar question that happens when people say get out of your head and get into your heart, as if these things were separate, right? And so it's a human tendency that we have, which we must avoid at all costs, which is to do the either or thing, right? Or the way that I do it is better than the way that you do it. Or if you only did it this way, it would be better. Because we are, as Gerald pointed out, a oneness. I think what happens is that people recognize that parts of it are left out. We can be so reliant on our minds that we forget that our body has intelligence. We can be so reliant on our minds that we forget to pay attention to the things that move us, to our emotional state, our heart. Often when people say heart, they actually don't mean their feelings, although that's what people hear. They mean their center. And in terms of the body, listening to your body, we have, as a culture, learned to ignore it. Right? And if we're going to do anything about it, we're going to shame it into looking like what we see in the magazines. That's right. That's really the only thing we're doing basically with body, or we're just not going to care and we're going to treat it poorly. What I think is valuable about speak from your body or that is to bring that that part back into the oneness, right? Into the wholeness of it. And so how I like to think about that is if you want to know what's going on in your body, listen to how you describe what's happening. It's a little bit like dream interpretation, right? If you think about dream interpretation, one of the characteristics of it is everything is an outpicturing of some part of our psyche. And the way in which we're feeling in the dream is actually something that's going on with us in a lot of ways. And so we can articulate that and we can ask ourselves, well, where in my life am I feeling that way, right? So we wake up from a dream and we say, somebody's chasing me, it's so overwhelming, and I can't get away. Okay, well, listen to those words. Where might that be describing something in my life? Might be useful, might not, and so it's the same thing when we listen to our bodies, especially when we're talking about chronic things, right? We're not talking about you broke a bone. We're not talking about that moment of crisis, but we are talking about those chronic things that are coming up that we're doing or experiencing over and over again. And the words that we use, right? The body is part of the feedback mechanism. I'm just always, my neck and shoulders are so tight, or my back, or right, all of these different things. And we can listen to the way and the word, and there are words that we're using to describe what's going on in our bodies. And so I think that's a lot of what's being said in the statements that you're saying, Marjorie, is just remember that there's feedback there. There's something of value there. And our body deserves to be taken care of. This is the one we get for this go-around, right? And we're in charge of it. It belongs to us. And so taking care of it, making sure that it's in good repair and can do what we want it to do is important. So rather than saying, okay, body is more important, I think what people are trying to do is say, okay, let's not leave it out. And it can be overemphasized. Right? So it is the mind-body connection that we're always talking about, or the spirit-mind-emotion-body connection. Why? Because it's all one, right? And it's just giving us different pieces of information. So it's a great question, Marjorie, and it's always about the both and. Thank you so much. All right, we have a comment up here.
Darlene.
Hi, Darlene.
This week, I've been really reading about and meditating on root cause.
Yes.
And the something popped in my head and asked me the question, when did you become allergic to shellfish?
To shellfish?
To shellfish.
Uh-huh.
Because for 20 years of my life, I was like, when I grow up, I'm going to buy a lobster. I'm going to eat lobster because it's 10 of us. We wasn't no lobster coming in that house. And so in the military, making my own money and whatever, went to dinner on a date. And the person said, I ordered lobster. And the person said, I should eat that because you don't deserve it. Telling them transparency here. And
I am so sorry. I just want to say I am so sorry.
But I went back and thinking about that this week, and I said, that is when I became allergic to shellfish.
Of course.
And from there, not just lobster, shrimp ate all my life. It went from shrimp to crab, but what I realized is that it kept showing up for me to get to this place.
Yes, right.
Now, I'm not going to run out and eat it because Glenda would have a fit. But it got worse and worse.
Yes.
And so I was thinking about that, because I thought about the person that said it to me. And I said, no, it is what I believe. Because I'm sitting here, I should have told him I can pay for my own damn lobster to take it through his face. But I'm saying, you were sitting there with your own money at your own table, but it was what you believed.
Right.
And boy, I'm telling you.
Yes.
That was powerful. And so
Yes.
it all comes to, being in this space, in this particular time, and freeing myself.
And that is it, right? Science of Mind is a liberation theology. We are freed from the crap that was imposed on us that we then took on as truth, and we started to believe it. However, those layers happen, and we become free. Thank you for sharing that, Darlene. Yeah, and again, it's not about, oh, why did I believe that, and how could I have picked that up, la, 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 la. It's the awareness. Awareness, that's why they say awareness is 50%. If that doesn't reveal itself to you, there's nothing you can do about it. Now, we can set a new cause in motion, right? Now we don't have to be at the effect of that anymore. It's beautiful. Thank you so much for sharing that. Yeah. Or we just blame and hate the other person. Do you see? And now we've made an effect, the other person's words, which is happening in the space-time continuum, we've made it causal because we've accepted it as truth, right? So that's why body is always an effect, never a cause. And we constantly have to remind ourselves of that. What is mine to do with this now? Right? Beautiful. Thank you so much for sharing that. And it's so easy then to have these kinds of experiences or have various things happen in our physical world, people around us, things going on, and we want to point the finger. I'm unhappy. The classic. This is how I learned it. Very many years ago. Right? Think about how many plans you've made that got ruined by the weather. Well, the weather was just the weather. The weather's just the weather, right? It's just doing the thing. So either you can go out in the weather with an umbrella, you can say, well, I'm not going to have the picnic out there, we're going to have it in the living room, we're going to make fun out of it, right? The weather itself is not causal unless we make it causal by how we take it up. Well, this weather's ruining my vacation. This weather's ruined my picnic. Well, it's only ruined the form. It's only changed the form. So if I can imagine a different form and find a new attitude about it, do you see I have an entirely different experience? So I don't have my sling on today. I'm very excited. I get my stitches out on Wednesday. My poor little arm, my elbow's going, I need to move. So I have to be I'm still very careful with it. But I had a number of people ask me, oh my God, you had the surgery to fix your collarbone, and how was it? And, oh, I can't believe, did you really need to have the surgery? And were you afraid? No. I was so excited. I was so excited to have the surgery, have my collarbone put back together again. And I was like instantly better. In the recovery room, I was instantly better. That's how badly it was broken. So, right? And I've had tolerable amounts of pain. And I've been super good with all the, things I'm supposed to be doing. And then the question is, well, how are you doing? How are you doing? I'm doing so great. My body knows how to heal itself.
Exactly. Yes. Exactly.
Right? And it can do nothing now but heal. So I'm just like, it's just healing itself. I'm just, right? And I could be going, I had to have the surgery, and it was, and now I got to wear the sling, and knee. And damn, it's all my granddaughter's fault.
Yeah.
Right? Right? I will never run down the path again with my granddaughter. What was she thinking? Do you see? I was thinking, I'm a cool grandma. I'm playing with my granddaughter. What are you kidding? But you see, all of a sudden, I'm making effect, the cause. Right? Well, the cause was, really, truthfully, I wanted to play with my granddaughter. That's what the cause was. My choice. And fell, broke my collarbone. Oh, woe is me, right? See, do you see? And so the only thing now is to give my body what it needs so that it can heal. That means I can't pick anything up. yet till they take the stitches out on Wednesday, and then they'll give me whatever the next thing is. And so I'm caring for it. But I know it's healing. I know it's doing exactly what it needs to be doing. And so again, do you see, those are the words that I'm using about my body. I don't even barely have to do spiritual mind treatment about it, because I know that so deeply, that it's just doing its thing. It knows how to do its thing. And we want to listen to the words. Back to Marjorie's comment. We want to listen to the words that we say about it. Whatever is going on, because it will reveal how we're holding it, what we believe about it, what we think is happening, right? Is it going to be hard? Is it going to be easy? All of those kinds of things. And by being willing to take a look at the causal reality, we access our ability to respond. And Darlene, if I can go back to your sharing, right, by uncovering that event, unlocking the belief that was there, and how that's now playing out, and the new belief that you want to do you see, you're taking responsibility for an experience that became a set of beliefs without blame or shame. Because now you have a different ability to respond to it. Without accessing our ability to respond differently, nothing changes. This is what we mean by taking responsibility. Not, how could I have been so stupid? I'm going to take responsibility that I created this horrible thing. I'm so stupid, blah, blah, blah. Right? No. That's called blame and shame. Right? I loved it in a class on teaching the Change Your Thinking, Change Your Life class. And one of our students, she said, well, I love that thing that you said about blame and shame, but if we turn that around, what if we took it up with curiosity and compassion?
I was there, but I didn't remember.
Yes, curiosity and compassion. And I thought, okay, I'm going to start adding to no blame and shame with curiosity and compassion. I'm curious. And that's Darlene, I'm curious, when did I start becoming allergic to shellfish, right? That's a curiosity question. And then compassion, oh my God, that was an outpicturing of what I believed. I can't believe, and I took that on. Compassion for myself. And now new choices are available, new things to think and say and believe, right? No shame and blame, curiosity and compassion instead. All right, comment back here. Hi, Anita.
Hi, this is Anita. So my dad, when I was a kid, had this saying that he used to always tell me, and it went like, you don't know how much you need to know in order to know how little you know. And as a kid, I took that up to mean I didn't know anything, that I was stupid. So that was my work.
Yes.
And even today, when that comes up, I draw on that fact that there is an infinite intelligence that lives within me. And that's what I draw on.
Beautiful. Right. I love that. Thank you, Anita. And in that moment, right, you're using your ability to respond differently. Wait, there's another truth here. There's a deeper, more powerful truth. And I'm going to make that the cause of my experience in this moment instead of this old belief. Thanks for sharing that. Yeah, right? So notice we all have it. We all do it. We're all in the same boat, right? You're no worse off than anybody else. We all have the stuff going on. So thank you.
Hi, I'm Mary Grace.
Hi, Mary Grace.
So one of the things that's really helped me kind of be curious is when you say, we are spirit informed, having an experience, right? We're experiencing in this physical form spirit. So for me, what's helped me be easier on myself and more curious is to be like, I'm having an experience and asking spirit, like, what did you think about that experience, Spirit? Was that a good experience? Did we like the way that felt? And then going on and being like, yeah, I did like that. Let's try it some more, do it some more. Or no, that one didn't feel so good. So I can do something different. And then just now earlier, the way that I had an image in my head about my son when he was 2, and this is going to be my reminder of what that kind of is we were out hiking one day and he found a worm and he picked this worm up and took off running. And we're like, what is happening? So we chase him down and he looks down at the worm and he's like, was that fun, worm? Was that fun running fast? And so that's how I feel now.
Yes.
Spirit, was that fun? Was that fun? Did we have
that.
fun? So just keep doing more of what we enjoy and not being, hard on the other experiences.
Beautiful, right? Because you are the place where Spirit is getting to experience life as you. And so when you run fast, it's like, wow, the whole universe is getting to experience running fast in the way that you run fast, right? I love that. That is great. And that, I think, is also that sort of checking in thing, right? We're checking in with our body. We're checking in with our center, which a lot of people call, we're checking in with our heart. We are checking in with our feelings. How did it make us feel? Where did it land? All of those things. Because because that is another way of saying all of this out here is just, it's the canvas. It's the sandbox. However you want to say it. It's the place where we are expressing life and we get to play. We get to play with that and we get to see, do we like it? Do we not? Is it serving? Is it expressing? For me, one of my big questions is, can I look at myself in the mirror in the morning and say, am I living the life that I believe is mine to live? And am I living according to the values and principles that are important to me? My shorthand for that is, can I look at myself in the mirror in the morning? Right? And when I can do that, then I'm expressing my life and experiencing it to the fullness that I can. And that is Spirit having that experience as me. And so this is the canvas. This is the sandbox. And when we say we are co-creative, that's what we mean. We're using the laws and principles. We're joining in with the impulse of life, of Spirit as us, and we are individuating it in our own lives, which is why this person's art looks like this, and not like Van Gogh, and not like Picasso, and right? This is this person's particular expression of the way they are expressing and experiencing. Just as our lives are our own canvas. And our life, I love it. Your life is your masterpiece. And are we expressing and experiencing it that way? Ryan.
Yeah, and I know that we're closing out here, but I wanted to share, this came in through Facebook, and I thought this was a good way to kind of sum that up. It says, I would rather break something while running in joy than stumbling in fear.
Yes.
And I
love that. That is beautiful, right? Because we are going to live full out. Stuff's going to happen. Stuff is. There's going to be a pebble. There's going to be a boulder. It is going to actually rain. Whatever. Somebody isn't going to look at you nice. Somebody's going to be, stuff is going to happen. It'll be less made up stuff, right? It'll be not just our thinking that something is happening that is actually not happening. And we can just live full out with it. Beautiful. Thank you.
And on that note, too, just as a reminder, CSLDallas is kind of that. We all come together. We come with our talents. We come with our resources. We come with our gifts. We learn together. We grow together in spiritual community. And that's why this community is so important. And as a reminder for that, we do have an upcoming in-person, what do we call it?
Opportunity fair.
Opportunity fair, that's what we were calling it. And that way, folks can come into the community and join different teams here, even step up into leadership and actually help to grow this community in the ways that it's needed. So it's a good way of kind of thinking about how we can show up with our expression, just like this artwork. We show up in our own unique way, we contribute in a unique way, and we become this community.
Yes,
and we share in that.
beautiful. So
And
that's on the 24th. What is the date?
that is this upcoming Sunday.
coming Sunday,
So
whatever
not
date
this
that
Sunday,
is.
but next Sunday. Make sure you're here in person.
21st.
And we're going to have some registrations. And then we're going to have a special Easter celebration
Yeah.
coming up that next following weekend. And somebody's birthday's on that Friday, the 29th. I don't know why I went into a really high voice
I don't
there.
know why either.
That was the Mickey Mouse version of me coming out. I don't know where that came from, but I guess that's how excited I am for it. So if you guys are here in the Dallas-Fort Worth
Yep.
area, we'd love to see you come here for the 29th. And then, of course, stay around for the Sunday celebration that we'll be having for Easter.
Yeah, it's going to be beautiful too. Thank you, Ryan, and thank you to all of you for being here and sharing and talking. And you know, this is my favorite place to be, right here with you all. It's my favorite place to be. So have a beautiful morning. Join us for our celebration. We're talking this whole month about making a difference, and today is the power of banding together. The power of banding together. And we have some lovely African proverbs to explore, to really think about this. So I invite you to join us, and otherwise we'll see you soon. Bye for now.
All right.